Welcome to That's What She Pled, with attorneys Christina Goldberg and Julie Luhrsen from Luhrsen Goldberg, LLC, law powered by women. It's time to shake up the old standards of law and of business. Join these two witty, intelligent, and sassy female business owners who are taking their industry by storm, challenging stereotypes and shattering ceilings. These two are on a mission to educate, empower, and support not only their own clients, but other powerhouse female entrepreneurs. Come for a laugh and stay for the vibe as Julie and Christina hold nothing back and share the truth of what it is to be female attorneys and business owners through discussion of current events, original stories, and inspiring guests. Now, on to the show.
Attorneys who know the law. Attorneys who represent you. Attorneys who are, women. Julie Luhrsen and Christina Goldberg are the energy behind Law Powered by Women, and they're about to share their stories in this inaugural episode of their podcast, That's What She Pled. I'm Patrice Sikora. Julie, Christina, I gotta tell you, the chemistry between you is invigorating, to say the least. How did the two of you get together?
Serendipity? Absolutely. I think
But
so.
serendipity can be so many things. I mean, how did you meet? Where did you meet? What happened?
Well, Christy, I'm going to let you go. Yeah, you got it. Listen, so we actually met when I wasn't even a baby attorney yet. I was still in law school, and I started an internship with Julie's former law firm and former law partner. And it's come full circle. So we worked together for probably a couple of years at that firm, went our separate ways, and ended up working together again about, Julie, what, 8 years ago?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well,
So
Julie,
I was not a baby lawyer at that point, and she was more like the grasshopper, right?
Yes.
Karate Kid.
Young Padawan.
And now I'm the grasshopper.
how
I'm
so?
just kidding.
Yeah, really.
I took a bunch of twists and turns, I would say, in my legal career, and so I wouldn't say I'm the grasshopper, but we are decidedly much more on equal footing. I mean, we're colleagues, we're contemporaries, we're, partners. So,
Well, then let's go back to the beginning. And Julie, I'm going to start with you on this one. Why'd you become a lawyer?
well, I like helping people would be the short answer. I think maybe the more interesting question really is, how did you become a lawyer? I tend to be somebody who's very careful about taking risks. So for instance, the metaphor I always use is when I go to the swimming pool, you're not going to see me jumping off the high dive right out of the bat. I'm going to, walk in the shallow end, make my way to the deep end, and think seriously about whether or not I want to go off the high dive. And so after college, I thought about being a lawyer and I wasn't sure. So I worked at a law firm. I was a paralegal, and, it turned out that was kind of fun. And, I thought I was up to the task. And so I went to law school and became a lawyer.
How many years did you wait before you went to law school?
2.
Oh, that's not too bad. Gives you
Yeah.
time to think.
Yeah. You learn how to pay your own bills.
Yeah. Huh? You did a stint in the military?
I did. I was an Army lawyer for, almost 8 years. And I guess to sort of follow that same metaphor, I originally did some work that I thought I really wanted to do. And as it turns out, it wasn't quite my cup of tea. And I was then at sort of a crossroads. What do I actually want to do? And this was shortly after I'd, become a lawyer. And so I jumped into the JAG Corps with no prior military experience. It wasn't part of my family history or anything like that. But it was attractive because it gave you the opportunity to try work in all sorts of different areas of the law and kind of figure out what struck your fancy. Yeah. And so, it was fun for a long time. And then, I made the jump back out, and the rest is history. Right.
Christina, how about you? How did you come to the law?
Julie actually probably thinks it's funny the way I found my way into the law, and I'm fairly certain did some research on it and may have come prepared or thought about coming prepared with some jokes on the matter. I tried to joke about JAG, but it's kind of, there's not a lot to joke about. It's
No,
just
there isn't.
freaking cool. It's just awesome.
It was a good TV show too.
Yeah. Before my
Entirely
time, maybe?
unrealistic.
I don't remember it.
All right,
I
never
don't
mind.
know.
We're not going to get into the age thing. Go ahead.
That's fine. It's fine. So I actually in 6th grade became slightly obsessed with the O.J. Simpson trial. So it was being televised, and it was just the biggest thing the world had seen, at least my world had seen. And it was playing in every TV on the school campus that could possibly have it playing on. And between classes, I would sneak in where it was closest to me so I could see what was going on. And I just became really enamored with the whole courtroom, standing up and speaking and telling the story and all of it. I just absolutely loved it. And did my whole, I gotta track him down. But I mean, I wrote letters to Marcia Clark and how cool is this? And I want to be just like you, and super embarrassing things now that I'm, 40 and looking back at what I did in 6th grade. But that's really what pushed me, what 6th grader knows what they want to do. And that's really what it was. I saw it and I said, gosh, that's what I want to do. Maybe not flub the whole case, but that's what I want to do. And so I picked in 6th grade, I decided that's what I'm doing. And that's what I did.
So you just held to that track? You went to college, law school, straight through?
I did. I went to undergrad and majored in legal studies and finished that in 3 years and went straight to law school. And along the way was working at various law firms to figure out, okay, what area of law do I really want to do? Because there's so many considerations. Obviously, the O.J. Simpson trial was criminal law, and that's not something I practice. But in 6th grade, you don't understand how do you actually get into that situation. And once I got older and realized, okay, I'm working in firms, and as a state's attorney, you prosecute what your boss tells you to prosecute, and as a defense attorney, I sort of am more of the mind that that's not who I can be. There is a place for brilliant defense attorneys. That's just not my role. So, but it was working in construction law firms and family law firms. And it was working in all of these firms, doing all of these different areas, just sort of interning and paralegal work to figure out, no, I really want to be in a courtroom. I really want to litigate. And there are very limited areas of law that you can practice and litigate. And this is sort of where I ended up really doing what we focus our practice on is the personal injury litigation.
Tell me more about that, more about the fact that you chose that as your focus.
Well, honestly, that has to do with Julie's former firm. So, starting there, and I actually started as an intern in law school and was writing appellate briefs, and just some of the most, cases can be heartbreaking and awesome at the same time. And that's maybe that's a lawyer's perspective. And that's something that only a lawyer can really see, because if you're the person going through it, it's not so awesome. But just from a sheer technical, procedural, passionate standpoint, oh my gosh, I was drafting documents and going to these arguments on just huge, tragic cases that were so fascinating to me, and just decided that, gosh, I just loved it. And that was that.
Julie, how did you get into this area?
Well, so during my years as an Army lawyer, the areas that I enjoyed were when I got to practice and help the individual soldiers and their family members. You do try different things. So I was a prosecutor prosecuting soldiers who got in trouble. And then I got to flip and do the defense side of things. And, criminal law is very different. Your victories are measured differently, but being able to help soldiers navigate, generally speaking, their way out of the military, unfortunately, but with dignity and then that sort of thing, and honoring who they were as a person. It was just something that I took to. And I also did a lot of civil legal work. Again, soldiers who are going through a divorce or have an issue with their landlord, and just sort of being able to lighten their load. I enjoyed that. I found that, fulfilling. And so as I left the military, personal injury law sort of was a natural fit. And it was also an opportunity that presented itself. So, between those two things, it was intentional, but I also fell into it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm hearing you both say pretty much the same thing, that you really like the helping part of this, helping people navigate the system, helping them in or out of a situation. I can see how that would bring the two of you together. How do other lawyers see you? I mean, it's got to be a little unusual for two women to have a firm. And here you are doing something that really is, it can be very intense. It's people's feelings, people's lives.
It is.
How
It
do-
is.
What do you get from the community? What reactions?
Gosh. We got some stories on that.
Yeah.
From our we'll start from our clients, and our clients, the majority, it's not as though we don't advertise. Of course we advertise, but the majority of our clients are really, they're personal referrals. So they're from former clients, they're from people that we've worked with who trust us, whatever that situation is, but the majority of them are personal referrals. And from our clients, what we get is, wow, this is so cool. I feel like I've got two, female superheroes working on my, like, I love the feeling, and I love the power and the sensitivity behind it, and all of the time we get, have you ever argued with a woman? I mean, who wants to argue with a woman? And so a lot of times we have people say, yeah, I knew I wanted a female attorney. And it's funny because neither Julie or I would really, really say about ourselves, yeah, I'm a super feminist. That's not where we are. That's not our overall overarching feeling about any of it. It's just that, hey, we are strong, capable mothers, businesswomen, and we've got something to offer. So, and we work so incredibly well together. Why not offer it that way? Now, Julie, you want to talk about what the public thinks or competitors?
We get, So by and large, we get really positive, supportive, encouraging feedback. People think it's cool. People think it's unusual. And so they like the notion. They like the idea. They like what we have to offer. They understand, men and women do offer different sort of skill sets, broadly speaking. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some who are put off, I guess, by women in our position, that they perceive, or I guess the power. And then there's all sorts of conclusions that get reached rather quickly and pretty incorrectly. I mean, you see two women together, and as opposed to two men. And so some of the reactions are just interesting. It's a sociological experiment. I'm not sure how pointed I should get here, but I mean, I had a call one time unsolicited from a gentleman who probably was in his 60s or 70s. And he basically told us that we were the laughing stock of the men's club at, the local golf course. And they thought for sure we were lesbians, and we were overly aggressive and very vindictive sounding, and all these other sorts of things, which, I mean, they're entitled to that opinion, I guess, but that's actually not accurate. We're just strong women, and I guess some people find it offensive,
abhorrent. Yeah. And it's probably generational too, right? I mean, I think it's a matter of, when you've got two female business owners, why do we have to focus on anything other than the professional aspect of our relationship, as opposed to, two male business owners? I don't think I have ever heard anybody say, oh, well, they must be life partners, they must be, but it's sort of the way that the brain, and I think generationally and like Julie said, sociologically, it's such an odd field to be in. We've got young clients and young, kind of members out in the community who are like, oh, this is the coolest thing. I love it. I love seeing the strength, and it's way to go. This is shattering the ceilings. And then we've got the older generation who says, I'm never going to hire you anyway. You should be barefoot in the kitchen. And that's cool. I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion, and we're not for everybody. We don't claim to be for everybody, but it's definitely, people say all the time, well, it's the same, men and women are treated the same. And they're, no, we're not. And it's okay, but we're not.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tell me about the people on your team. Talk talking about a generational difference. Is there a generational difference in thinking on your team, or are they all, we're here to support you?
You know what? We have the coolest team. We really do.
We really do.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I was talking to our receptionist who is just, she's the gatekeeper. She's the most important. She answers the phone and she greets our guests and our clients. And, but I was actually talking to her a couple of days ago and it came out of nowhere. She mentioned, when I first came to work here, I thought, oh God, 2 women and this personal injury field that's just, I don't know if that's real law. That's sort of the public perception of it. And when I came to work here, I thought, oh gosh, I don't know how this is going to go. But she said that in an effort to then say, but this has just been the coolest experience because I get it now. I understand what really is happening. And I understand how different you two are from, competitors and we march to our own drum and we do things in our own way. And I think our staff can appreciate it and they get on board with it, but we also listen to them. If they've got something to add, we want to know it.
Mm-hmm. Julie?
Collaboration is, I think, probably a good way to describe not only my relationship with Christy and hers with me, but with our team as well. I mean, everybody plays a really important role, whether it is the receptionist or, all the way up to Christy and me. But so their insights are respected, sought after, and valued, and their contributions likewise. So, together we're better. I happen to have a law degree. Christy happens to have a law degree, but everybody on our team is very smart, very capable, very invested. And so while they may not have a law degree, I mean, the fact that they don't have a degree is almost immaterial in the grand scheme of things. Because
it really is.
They're
They
share the same values that we do, and they bring the same enthusiasm and commitment to the work we do. And so their contributions,
In fact, we have our little secret wall between our offices are kind of behind a door down a hallway. Julie and I have our little wall of accomplishments, and the only people who ever see that wall of accomplishments, and it is full of framed diplomas and documents and awards and all of that. But the only people who ever see it are Julie and Christy. And because that's how much it doesn't matter. And that's how much we don't separate ourselves from the people that we work with and around. It does not. If you want proof, I can show you proof. But that's how much it doesn't matter to us to say, here we are. I'm so great because I'm a lawyer, and you're so great because you're a lawyer, and everybody else is a peasant. It just doesn't work that way here.
That's great. That's fantastic.
I remember, I guess, to that point, when I was working as a paralegal, I was working at a big defense sort of traditional silk stocking downtown law firm. And, I was 22, and some of these lawyers were, in their late 20s, and they walked around, honestly, very smugly and treated you sort of, I don't know. I mean, maybe second-class citizens is a little too strong. But I came away thinking I like the work, but I feel like the only thing that really separates me from them is they went to school for 3 years more than I did, because I'm every bit as, otherwise qualified. And so, that left me an impression or left a real impression on me. Of course, then I went into the Army where hierarchies. Well, there's a lot to be said for hierarchy and respecting those boundaries. So I don't know how you put all that together, but anyway, somehow I came out of it at the end thinking, you know what, I put my pants on the same way as everybody else. And so, I want to treat people that way as well. The golden rule, whatever.
All right, let's take a step away from work for a moment. Let's look at downtime. Do you have downtime? What do you do for fun when you're not working?
We do have downtime. I think by design, right? So we've created a situation for ourselves and for our families that we, when we're at work, we work, and when necessary to work outside of the office, we will. But there is a definite balance. The problem with attorneys burning out is huge. There are articles all of the time, alcoholism and attorneys burning out, and it's terrible. So we've really been very careful, not only for ourselves, but for our staff, to create a great work-life balance. Anyway, I digress. So for me, Gosh, I hang out with my kiddo, my teenager, as much as he lets me hang out with him at this point. We're getting to that stage. Mom, back off. Otherwise, anything in or on the water. I mean, we live in beautiful Florida, Sarasota, Florida, and it's just magnificent. And now is the time. Love to read, which surprises some people just because that's what, reading and writing is kind of what we do in the office. Live music. There's so much to be found around here. I think it has a lot to do with where we live, and all year round we can be outside. We don't have to worry about the snow. So I try to have a pretty robust life outside of work hard, play. And I try to live by that.
Julie?
I've got 2 kiddos as well. They're 20 somethings. I do not have any teenagers in my house anymore. So when they're around, I just like to be in their orbit a little bit. It's a fun time, I guess. I don't have to deal with the teenage stuff anymore. So it's fun to be with my kids.
Yes, you do. You deal with mine.
Oh, well, I don't go home to it. I do listen.
Every morning. Every morning. Julie, I'm going to kill him.
And having walked the walk, I understand that. Anyway, I digress. Too, but my kids aren't around much of the time anymore, which is bittersweet. But so it's having spent so many years being really engaged in their lives and driving carpool or whatever. It has pushed me into really developing my hobbies again. I love to work out. I've always been good about that. I'm a lifelong runner. Unfortunately, my body tells me that's not the best thing to do anymore. So, I like to walk and listen to podcasts. I love the water, enjoy time out on the boat, reading, love to garden, love to cook, especially if I have an audience. If I have to cook for myself, forget it. So a little of this, with the pandemic, I've fully embraced Netflix series and things like that. Currently.
With that confession, tell me one thing that many people or most people don't know about you.
Well, I think what surprises people, although I don't know whether, I mentioned it, is I did regularly jump out of a perfectly good airplane. And I made an extra $110 a month tax-free.
To jump out of an airplane.
For throwing my life out of an airplane regularly. It was, we made a reference to JAG earlier, the TV show that Christy doesn't remember. It was set in the Navy. And I think the guy, when he wasn't trying cases, he was flying like fighter jets. And that's why I say it's so unrealistic. But it's true. I did actually, as part of my tenure as an Army lawyer for 5 years, jump out of airplanes with a parachute on my back.
I sincerely hope so.
And it was scary every single time.
You never stopped. You never balked, though, right? You just got
no. That'll get you kicked out of the Army. If you refuse at the door.
You never what, Julie?
Balked at the door.
Balked.
Oh,
like they call them jump refusals. It's a serious thing because it's a safety problem.
Yeah.
So no, I never did that, and thankfully I landed and never.
What was the first time like?
Scary.
Yeah.
So when you go to jump school, it's a 3-week school. The 3rd week culminates in doing 5 jumps. Anyway, I was there. I was in my late 20s, and I was basically surrounded by a whole bunch of 18-year-old young men, no fears at all. Meanwhile, I'm like literally calling everybody I know the weekend before we're having these jumps, just checking in, just in case.
You've got the men with the undeveloped brains who don't have a concept of danger at all.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at the end, and like, I remember one person ended up landing on top of a car that was parked in the middle of where we were going to land. Anyway, at the end, they couldn't wait to do it again. And I was like, you all are crazy. Anyway, I did do it again. So I guess they got the last laugh. And
look
again,
at what we've learned about
again.
These brains of men, though, right? Even with the cases that we've handled, now it all makes sense because we've done the research. Like, no, you really were stupid enough to do this thing and not understand the consequences of it.
Well, it was fun in the short term.
Yeah.
And then it was over.
Oh my gosh.
You don't have to do it again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Christy.
I've never done that. I'm waiting until Matthew is a fully fledged adult. And then maybe I'll fling myself out of an airplane as well.
I didn't have kids.
Let's go together.
Yeah.
Let's do. Oh, you're the old pro. You can.
Enthusiasm is just
There you go.
overwhelming.
I know.
We can do a tandem jump, Christy.
Okay.
That's double the weight that's falling through the air.
See, I know.
A bigger
I don't think
spot
they.
at the bottom.
Maybe they let you jump. Did you jump alone, Julie, the first time?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So in the military, you're actually jumping, generally speaking, at about 800 feet. So it's called a static line jump. You hook your parachute to a big wire, big thick wire inside the plane. And as you go out the door within 4 seconds, you should feel that opening shock. Otherwise, you need to pay attention to that thing on your tummy, your reserve. Because as they say, you have the rest of your airborne life to get that thing open.
Oh God. But you were saying you should pay attention to the
Wow.
nausea that's coming up. You're just gonna...
Really?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
The adrenaline.
It's true.
Wow.
All right.
800 feet happens fast. Sorry.
No,
Yes.
it's all right.
Okay.
Sure it
Well,
does.
Nate. Oh gosh. I have a really good one, and I don't know if I don't know. Okay.
Come on.
So I know it's bad. Well, it's good. It's awesome. So I was a rink rat growing up. So in the 80s, that's what you did, right? So when I was 14, my first job was a skate guard. I mean, I got to hand out the skates to the cute boys, and I got to go and skate around in circles in the rink and help them if they fell or whatever, make out with them. It didn't matter. So that was my first job. Anyway, I grew up in the skating rink. I mean, I was there all the time, weekend skates, overnight skates. So fast forward, I don't know.
Was
20
this
years.
Stardust?
Yes. Which, by the way, they're putting an ice rink into Stardust. I'm sorry. Anyway, so fast forward 20 years and I have a girlfriend. I'm like 30, maybe, 29, 30. And I have a girlfriend who says to me, hey, I have a bout this weekend. Come over to the rink and come watch. I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, you know that thing that they call roller derby?
Yes.
They made a movie about it. Well, I did. I participated in a roller derby league for about 5 years.
What was your name?
Come on.
And what
I was motioned to strike her, in keeping with the lawyer theme. Yeah. And so they had sort of like obviously this wasn't associated with school, but they had like a junior varsity and a varsity team. And I made my way up to the varsity team. Yes, there are photos. No, I will not show you.
Wait a minute. I'm going to interrupt to say that this was at a point in our lives when we were not working together. And I can remember, on Facebook, she would post pictures of her injuries, a bruise here, a mangled finger. I was like, oh my God, I know her.
Yeah.
Do I know her? Anyway.
What was the team you were on?
Yeah. What's your team name?
It was, I don't know if they exist anymore. I think they do. It was the Braden Tucky Bombers. And I was on the bomb squad. That's right.
Oh.
So the adjoining town is called Bradenton to Sarasota, and Bradenton is sort of like the bastard stepchild to Sarasota. Sarasota's sophisticated.
Yeah.
Bradenton is much more like, I'm a
Roller
fifth
derby.
generation. And so,
right.
Yeah,
Bradenton's
well,
more roller derby and a little more country. So Braden Tucky's a nice little twist.
a reference to Kentucky country.
Yeah. And by the way, there really is a purpose to, like, it is an actual sport. It really is. These are serious athletes. In fact, some of the athletes that I played with, I was on teams with, went on to compete in the Olympics in speed skating or whatever. I don't think that derby is currently an Olympic sport, but it will be. It will be.
Listen, I grew up watching in black and white on a black and white TV. Okay. I'll put it right out there now. Roller derby. Bay Area Bombers. They were my faves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Really
a great time. These are incredible athletes, phenomenal women, all professionals, moms. I mean, we had our toddlers, we had our kids running around the rink. I mean, the kids loved it. Everybody traveled together to the bouts. The husbands were totally on board. We had
Did you
all of it.
You whip people around the track?
Yeah.
Yes,
That's a thing.
Yeah.
You got to get your jammer through that pack.
That's right.
Yeah.
Excuse us, Julie. This is just
Yeah.
memories.
We're
are coming
bonding.
back. I'm sorry.
Patrice and I are bonding right now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're running out of time here, but this is great. One other question for each of you, and then we're going to wrap it up. What's your proudest achievement?
Us.
All right.
Is that cliche? That's so cliche. We are so good. We are so good together, and we still have so much to learn. But what we have created here is just the It's the coolest thing. I mean, yeah, we both made lives and had babies and did all of it. But this is for us as people, as professionals, as women. I mean, this is just the coolest thing that we've created here. I'm so proud of it.
I can't really top that. I mean, I have 2 kids that are awesome and I'm incredibly proud of them. But yeah.
Well,
this is just one of these things that when we first reunited, it was not on the horizon. It wasn't in our thought. And, but, we birthed it. We've, are watching it grow up, and we are the proud parents of Law Powered by Women.
Mm-hmm.
How can listeners reach you, proud mamas?
lawpoweredbywomen.com is the easiest way to find us.
Yeah. Our office is in Lakewood Ranch, Florida, which is a little town just kind of east and combining Bradenton, Sarasota. Growing area, well, something like the #1 growing area in the United States or something, master plan community.
Southwest Florida, beautiful beaches.
Yeah.
People are moving here in droves.
Yes.
All right. Well, we will be learning a lot more about that when we speak with you on a number of upcoming podcasts. I'm absolutely sure. Christy, Julie, thank you so much for your time. I'm looking forward to more and more of these discussions. And listeners, follow the podcast. Make sure you know when a new episode is ready for you. And please share with others. I think they'll appreciate it. I'm Patrice Sikora, and let's talk again later.
Thank you for listening to That's What She Pled podcast. Don't forget to click the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and do not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Luhrsen Goldberg lawyers. The content has been made available for general informational and educational purposes only and may not constitute the most up-to-date legal or other information. The content is not intended to be a substitute for legal advice from your individual attorney, and the information provided does not and is not intended to constitute legal advice.